Devin keeps trying to figure out how things could have gone so wrong. His feelings earlier about an impending catastrophic failure now feel truly validated. It's happened. He took those courses emphasizing engineering ethics. He studied cases in which every step of a disaster was detailed and exactly how each step was preventable. He took great care in his career to make sure he would never become one of those case studies, that the machines he helped design were as safe as possible. And while he'd already thought this, it's the fact he didn't even know Cameron was on an antipsychotic at some point, just that he was on meds. He knew Cameron's problems were concerning, and he reassured himself with the crash course in abnormal psychology. While he was never as openly disdainful as his peers, the idea of trying to explain complex behavior through endless theories was frustrating, to say the least.
Waiting for it.
He chalked it up to him being one of those people who simply needed a solid answer. A number. But he also remembers those months when Cameron was on his medication, how one night he'd have Dev sit with him in the arts building on campus. It was late, and no one was around as Cameron almost angrily bashed on the keys of the grand piano, asking him if any of it sounded good. Dev said it sounded fine. Then, the coyote finally broke down, saying he couldn't write music anymore. That emotionally, things had become black and white, that there was a wall between him and who he was. That the medicine he was taking was the reason why he fucked up his chance with the label. And as Cameron sobbed over the piano, Devin had decided that psychology doesn't know a thing about how people work.
You guys can't see, but I would like to inform those of you listening at home that Alan, our psychologist,
he's giving some very not so nice hand gestures to the screen right now.
To Devin, yeah.
Actually, I love it because Devin is. We're finally seeing where Devin's
issues.
Yeah. He does. Why doesn't he trust psychology? Because he really does love his boyfriend's band that was supposed
Not
to
band.
happen.
It was just.
But boyfriend's label, right?
Yes, but it was because he was going to be playing on his own. He was a solo musician.
He is truly hurt by Cameron losing all of that.
Yes, but at the same time, he's writing off an entire field of study from personal experience, and considering what's been going on, within the real world and how many people have gone, science isn't real because my personal feelings are against it. I have zero tolerance for that anymore.
Fair. Yeah. That's fair.
I'm curious though, Hannah, you're the other person who has invested an interest in psychology being an actual field. What are your thoughts about Devin? I know you probably aren't the full level of middle fingers at him.
Yeah, so it's I understand that he's in a lot of pain, and so I can understand, even the point where you're being psychology, if, you're in that much of an negative emotional state, but, yeah, at the same time, it's very hurtful whenever you come to those conclusions with that, and so... It also does kind of hurt too. I'm not I'm not giving middle fingers to the screen right now, but it's just kind of one of those things.
Well, I don't actually feel that much impacted by it. It's a fictional dude saying this, so I'm just doing it honestly more for the joke.
Yes.
But
I laughed
genuinely, if a real person said this, I probably would just go, okay, I'm not going to bother talking to you anymore.
Yeah, it's nope. You're not worth my time at this point.
Yeah, that's my actual thoughts.
To be honest, what probably happened was it seems like Cameron had a lot of really not good psychologists.
Yes, the problem is this is actually one of those things with psychological horror stories, especially if there's supernatural in there, is they always kind of, unfortunately, have to make the psychologist into somewhat of a villain within the story. Because if your character is dealing with the supernatural, suddenly they look crazy by all accounts, and a therapist isn't going to be able to go, well, maybe it really is the supernatural, unless they want to be a fucking terrible therapist.
Yes. So, but I think that's kind of what where Devin is coming from, right? Like, it's like Cameron has experienced pain, and Devin does that, like, defense mechanism of, oh, someone I cared about felt pain. You know what? That's psychology. Like, and that is where we get people like denying science now, and like with current events is like people are like, I don't, my local business closed, or like this is all fake, right? Like it's like it's easier to take the easy way out than it is to.
Basically, they're putting the blame on something else.
But I will say, what I do really like about this entire situation as well is you can get what's going on with Cameron if you actually know psychology. Because, yes, he's technically not wrong to say that his pills did cut him off from those feelings and then that creativity. Because, unfortunately, those pills do actually have that as a bit of a side effect, unfortunately.
Yeah, and, like, a lot of medications, like kind of Alan was saying, like, in general, if they're treating different psychological disorders or that sort of thing, it does a lot of times have some nasty side effects, unfortunately.
But yeah, the big thing as well is the best example of this supposed like loss of creativity, unfortunately, is with actually bipolar disorder, where when you treat that, basically the people think that, oh yes, you're going to treat me for my depressive side, but they don't realize that it's also going to treat for the mania that they get as well, because they think the mania is actually them. And so when they instead end up at a normal rate of functioning, that's too slow for them because that's not their mania. Mania is supposed to be them, not depressive, not flat rate. And so a lot of people, not a lot, I don't know the exact rate, but I just know that it's enough that it's a common enough story, is that some people who take medications for bipolar disorder will eventually stop their pills because they want to get back to the mania. And so with Cameron there, he's probably having issues with everything as well, trying to get to his creative core and all that, and is having trouble with that because it's not in the same place psychologically for him anymore. He may still have some creativity, he just may not realize it's in a different form now. And like the best example I have of this is actually BoJack Horseman. Have either of you watched it?
No, but I've heard good things.
Okay, so you've watched it? Alright.
Yeah.
One of my favorite episodes is in like the final season, and it's called Good Damage. And it's about Diane Nguyen. She basically has a lot of her own personal issues that are discussed throughout the show. And by the final season, she starts taking antidepressants. But she's trying to write a memoir of like all of her personal issues. She can't really get into those emotions because she's on antidepressants. She can't talk about all the problems that she had in her life without the antidepressants going, hey girl, maybe that's not a good idea right now. And so she then goes, well, I can't tell my deep, meaningful story of this pain that I felt unless I'm off the medication. And so she gets off her medication and still can't write it because now she's horribly depressed. And so what I love about that story, though, is eventually one of the other characters basically sits her down, has her have a talk with them, and she even has Diane has the line of, I have to write this memoir, I have to talk about all these problems in my life, and the reason why I have to do this is if I don't, then the damage I got wasn't good damage, it was just damage. And that's one of those things that like I took away from that show, just honestly loving that line was, unfortunately, sometimes something that you went through, it's just because you went through a trauma or some awful adverse event, it's not always improving you, it's what you did after it that improved you. The event itself might just honestly be damage, it's how you reacted to the event that really determined whether or not you improved. Well, I feel like I dominated that conversation.
Deep thoughts.
Yes.
Deep thoughts
by
with Devin Cameron.
Alright. As Cameron sobbed over the piano, Devin had decided that, Psychology doesn't know a thing about how people work.
Alan gives a middle finger.
And that's formative.
So guys, no, but what I think about psychology.
Yeah, go for it.
No, I
That's
just-
awesome.
Just continue to get in the cycle. That psychiatrists might as well be drug dealers with an office. It had been the same for his mother after what happened with Lupita. Even now, she struggles with her addiction to
Benzodiazepine.
Yeah, benzodiazepine. Yeah.
I mean,
So-
yeah, you knew how to say it. I don't know why I tried to correct you.
Yeah. I was just like, how is it pronounced again?
We're judging you, psych major. Don't worry.
Anyways, something Carelessly prescribed to her so she'd stop wailing all the time. To Devon, it seemed like psychology never moved past lobotomies.
So as I said, I actually read through all this, and that's part of the other reason why I was like, I know where this is heading to.
Woof.
That level of bullshit, I'm like, Devin, you have an obvious issue here, buddy.
Woof.
Yeah.
You said, yo, you don't look down on psychology. You fucking look down on psychology, dude.
Yeah.
Woof.
Don't lie.
Yeah.
It's funny. I really actually enjoy that too because it further explains his relationship with Artie.
Mm-hmm.
It has
Engineers
that strain.
fix things. Says them.
Psychologists don't do anything. They're just lobotomizing people.
Yep, that's really how Dev feels. I mean, it's not really how he feels, but it's like what he says, right?
It's definitely him when he's at his worst moment.
Yeah,
Correct.
emotionally, that's how he feels whenever
Correct.
he's at his worst. Yeah.
Yeah, giving him the benefit of the doubt. He probably doesn't feel that all the time, but my biggest issue is he was dating Cameron while Cameron was still on his pills. Cameron goes off his pills, and Devin's first thought is, that's good. And that's what really makes me a little bit more miffed with Devin,
Mm-hmm.
is that he didn't tell Cameron, maybe getting off your pills cold turkey isn't a good thing.
Yes.
Instead, they just converted into pills. And he never really changed that mindset, and it's why he never encouraged Cameron to seek some sort of help, especially if he didn't want it. What he took away from his research is that hallucinations of any kind are of serious concern and should never be brushed off. But he had done just that with the idea that maybe there's more to hallucinations for some people than psychology will ever understand. Maybe it's ghosts. Devin wants to hit himself.
No, don't.
In fact, he wishes the Weasel Man had added a kick in the nuts to go with that gut punch. Something else to help remind him how utterly stupid he is.
Well, you were called back in, dude. Come on, get that.
Devin, you already got a twofer from the Weasel. You got a face punch and a gut punch. You don't need any more.
Yo, it
Let's
blows
go.
my mind that he has like no, like, and then from that happens, and then he's like, okay, now I'm gonna go like protect my boyfriend. Like, there's no like, oh, I'm wheezing and my brain hurts. It's just like, oh, okay. Kind of like Chase and his leg. I can run when it's convenient for plot,
Yeah.
and I can't do anything when it's convenient for plot.
Well, no, even when he was running, he would always like talk about how it basically felt like he was stepping on glass and everything.
Cool, but he
Yeah.
still was running with a broken leg.
At least hobbling along.
I will also point out, he also was running when his life was in danger.
Fair
Running
gentleman.
is a
Yeah.
hell of a thing.
Oh yes, it lasted when I hit that deer. It lasted for me for like 48 hours. I didn't eat any caffeine. I was like, "Good morning, everyone." Oh gosh, the deer! They're still after me. Look out!
Prince of the Forest sends his regards.
No, for really. I was like in my classroom, and I'm like, keep calm, deep breaths. The deer won't hurt you now.
And I was so glad that we were on Thanksgiving break so I could go home then and take a nap.
I like the idea of like one of like the children just coming up to you going, Miss, are you okay?
They did. I had to be like, well, you know, last weekend I hit a deer on the interstate, and they all live in. They all go, oh, and I'm like, yeah.
And that's the thing. That should tell you that we here we're gonna bleep that out.
Yeah.
We here in our local area realize, oh crap, deer.
Yeah.
And like even the children realize that, and none of them were going like, oh, the poor deer. They're like,
Yeah,
oh.
none of them were like, is the deer okay? They were all like, oh, are you okay? My dad was hunting deer last weekend. And I'm like, yeah, it's your dad that scared that deer onto the road.
See, for me, if I was you, I would have been like, your dad's doing the Lord's work.
What's funny is
I did actually say to one of my kids,
under control.
I did actually say to one of my kids, because he did go hunting with his dad, I was like, hey, did your dad get revenge for me? And he said, no, we didn't get any. I'm like, darn.
That's so funny. Alright. The concept of the paranormal is so far from his mind at this point that he doubts he'll ever dabble in it again.
Hey, look, an Ouija board.
See, there he is, dude.
Devin looks up, and sure enough, he sees Cameron running towards them. The smile of relief on the coyote's face seems to break the dam of emotion in Dev's chest.
He's gonna cry.
That wild look he'd had earlier, the one that had looked at him as if he were a stranger, is gone. The next thing he knows, he's running too. He wonders why Kim is running on the rough rocks and thorny vegetation, but Devin joins him and Cameron runs into his chest with a thump.
Since you're guys making the music jokes, I gotta point out the joke that I held myself back from saying immediately, which is I kind of wish that Cameron, like, instead of like running in for the hug, came in and then immediately punched Devin in the face, and then just kept running into the
No, you have to do 2 jabs, because remember, Artie's there too.
No, Artie gave him the weed. Artie's cool. Artie's a scam dealer.
Oh my god!
Woof. Woof.
Say how we're doing on our recording.
I probably should stop it at some point, but the other thing I wanted to point out is another terrible joke that came to my brain before the punch one came in was I like to imagine them running in slow-mo and Baywatch is like playing in the background.
Yeah. Like that's what I meant. Like they're running towards each other and you just hear and then they like.
Is that Baywatch's song?
No, that's actually from Romeo and Juliet by Tchaikovsky, but it's commonly used in romantic scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, like, Sims.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least in the first Sims game.
Oh yeah. See, I was thinking like it wouldn't be like the romantic one. It'd just be like you just see them bouncing like up and down in slow mo, and like it's just like that weirdly like graphic like yes, their cheek is moving slowly.
Oh yeah.
as they're like moving in slow mo, that type of deal.
To be honest, they kind of are at this point, which is really sweet. They're like, I'm with you.
Alright. I'm gonna go ahead and quickly check on see how much time we have put on this
Oh
recording.
Lord, we probably put like 2 hours on it.
Maybe like an hour, at least an hour.
He wonders why Cam is running on the rough rocks and thorny vegetation, but Devin joins him. Cameron runs into his chest with a thump.
I'm sorry. I don't know what the hell I was.
Stop. You're fine. That's all I care about. You're fine.
But I don't know if I am.
You are. You're here, and you're fine. And we're gonna go home, okay?
Yeah. Careful.
Devin, rocking them back and forth on the uneven rocky ground, sends them to the dirt. But Devin just pulls Cameron into his lap, still hugging him tightly. Meanwhile, Artie is looking away, seeming to have spotted something very interesting in the miniature forest, just off the road, though he's smiling.
I'm sorry for bringing you here. I don't know what else to say. I'm just sorry.
No, it's my fault for thinking I was special, that I had superpowers or something.
None of this was your fault, okay?
Cameron stays quiet, and Devin is content to just hold the coyote, both of them sniffing. Meanwhile, the coyote plucks at sagebrush that's rubbing up against them. When which he holds to his nose.
You know how I hate the desert?
Devin tries to adjust to the jarring shift in the conversation, but goes along with it, assuming Cameron just wants to focus on other things for now.
I'm starting to hate it too, actually.
Cameron inhales the sprig of sagebrush in his paw again.
Well, I love the smell of sagebrush. The way the whole desert smells like it.
I suppose it's alright.
There's something about it that reminds me of Christmas.
That's weird, coming from someone who grew up surrounded by pine forests. Like when we went to my dad's cabin. Now that's a smell I can get behind.
I guess I got too used to it, and sagebrush is just different.
The desert version of pine forests.
Pines can grow in the desert.
Then, I mean, the ones in the northwest.
We should go to your dad's cabin again. That was fun.
Yeah, we can ghost hunt over there. Sorry.
How dare you?
I was
so
trying to
sorry.
have a serious scene.
I'm so sorry. Oh, really? I thought you didn't like it.
In all honesty, Dev hadn't either. He had meant to take Cameron ice fishing, like his father had taken him so many times. The second they got there, though, he realized how woefully unprepared he was.
I complain too much, but we should go in the summer so we don't have to dig through 4 feet of snow just to open the cabin.
Dev almost laughs at the memory of being so exhausted by the time he opened the cabin that his plans to romantically make love to Cameron went out the window the second they got in bed.
Yeah, I'll ask my dad about it when we get back.
I just want to be somewhere with you, away from this.
Yeah, far away from this.
Dev, I don't think I'm actually psychic. I hallucinated a UFO a little bit ago. That's not real.
Oh, you just saw one?
Well, in my mind, I was someone else. I saw a dead body, and I saw a spacecraft in the sky. It didn't make sense.
I see. Well, you won't have to worry about that anymore once we're out of here.
I really, really hope we won't.
Dev isn't going to ask him to elaborate, or tell him that UFOs are commonly reported in Echo, especially in times when supernatural activity is at its peak.
Good boy, Dev.
While he wants to convince Cameron he isn't mentally ill, he knows that's not what he should be doing right now.
Good boy, Dev.
So, I have a question for you, Hannah, because I think you'd be the other person with this. I know we're not the type to try and actually diagnose, but this is a fictional character, so I think it's okay to have fun with this as a practical exercise. Do you think there's anything actually psychologically wrong with Cameron?
Well, I mean, if nothing else, he definitely, he did develop addictions, so, I mean, in that sense, that's pretty clear.
Well, yeah. That one definitely, obviously. So.
Yes, so, he's definitely has addictions. It's kind of weird how, so I think there's a couple of games that we've played where, they play with the idea of, either, oh, is this supernatural, or is this happen to be, psychological / weird set of circumstances, and so it's kind of this game kind of plays with the idea, it's is there really actually something going on, or is this just kind of, stuff that's happening in his head, and, it's, normally I would say out of, a different context, I would be like, oh yeah, he's totally hallucinating, but
Yeah, if this was not a horror game where he probably actually is psychic, possibly, yeah, I would agree with you. The hallucination alone is enough for me to go, you should see someone and talk about that. And maybe there is something else going on there. But even with the supernatural explanation, knowing Cameron's own backstory and how much he's kind of personally trying to hide from it, he feels guilty and ashamed of it, I would suggest therapy, just flat out, because I think he needs to talk to someone about this stuff.
He has he has anxiety, right? Like he has, if nothing else,
he does have other psychological issues going on.
Yeah, there's also this fear that he has of ending up like his mother as well.
Yes.
Thank you, Freud.
Well, no, that'd be if he wanted to sleep with his mother.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only Leo. No, I'm kidding.
But yeah, no, he probably should seek therapy. I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Whether he is actually psychic or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if he is psychic, you need therapy, boy.
Yeah. You have way too many issues to ignore that. And even though he wants to deny it, he doesn't know if it's true or not.
I just realized I did that while you were about to take a drink. Drink all you want, Hannah.
I mean, I was just planning to have a small sip.
Okay, I just realized that I have had a bad habit of doing that to people. It was pointed out to me at SGS that I go to the GM every time that they're about to take a drink.
Honestly, I haven't noticed.
It was pointed out by the GM themselves. I'm not saying their name because I know they wouldn't want their name on the internet.
Okay, that's fair.
But yeah, they pointed out to me, they're like, yeah, you have the worst timing. Every time I go for my bottle, suddenly a new question from Alan. Hey DJ, I see you have something you want me to ask you.
Beautiful.
So DJ, tell me your life story.
Well, basically, you know,
A long time ago.
in a galaxy somewhat nearby. There we go. We're not copywritten.
Kind of nearby.
Recently, in a galaxy far, far away.
And then the murders began.
There we go. Can't see.
That is beautiful.
Wait, I just realized, wasn't like the first line of Arches here just run?
It might have
I think
been.
it was.
He just run and then
It
the
was.
murders begin.
Yep. Yep.
Run. And then the murders.
In all honesty, like that's also what's kind of true. It really is that.
Looking back, I wish I said that.
Oh. Arches in a nutshell.
Run and then the murders begin.
Then Artie gets a raincoat and becomes the bad guy.
He believes Cameron is psychic, but that's taken a back seat to the possibility that something else is happening too. And Dev can't be the one to figure that out for Cameron. He can only be there to support him.
Aw.
Oh shit! I think Artie's in the forest.
Eh?
Sure enough, Artie's disappeared.
Oh, he's a dead motherfucker. Oh, yeah. Well, he'll be alright. We'll just call for him. Not really a big forest thing.
Dev, that's where the shotgun guy is.
Oh, fuck. I forgot.
Dev stares at the tree line hopefully.
Dev, we have to get him.
Well, he shouldn't be far in at all. Anyway, we can't warn him real quick, but let's keep our voices down. I'm scared of Shotgun Guy. It's the first time I've gotten beaten up in a long time.
They get up and move toward the forest.
Technically, the guy that beat them up was a pistol guy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, there's two different guys.
Mm-hmm. Shotgun guy's a different guy.
Oh,
Nice.
alright.
I forgot his name.
He truly might have been warning us to get the F out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Shotgun guy. Well, remember, actually, this is the funny thing. Shotgun guy went, Duke, is that you motherfucker? You're sneaking around my trailer again.
Ah.
He called out Duke. Duke was noted to be alive even before we saw him in the game.
Yeah.
So this is a guy who knows Duke.
Mm-hmm.
Is he about the? Would he be about the same age as Duke?
I mean, it's somebody who's still an Echo at the very least.
Yeah.
Have we
He
met
probably-
this person in Echo?
I don't know, honestly, who Shotgun Guy is. I have a theory of who they
I'm
are.
having a theory too.
I
am too. Is he that?
It could.
I can't remember his name to be honest. But isn't he that bear who was with Duke or something like that?
Maybe that's kind of my theory at the moment as well. I don't know if that's actually the case.
So
I know
Leo,
he lived in a forest.
Leo, we know is okay. It leaves.
Does Leo
No.
Because
So-
Leo has a shotgun.
Leo, So here's the problem with Arches as a sequel: is it's taking place on a alternate ending for Echo that does not exist within Echo as the game. Echo's got 5. Actually, it's got 8 different endings, and none of them are what leads into Arches.
Huh.
They're all technically canon. They're all technically not canon. And that's what I meant by like there is definitely like a branching timeline for the Echo universe.
Yeah.
Because the Smoke Room is also going to have 8 different endings.
Yeah.
So there's something going on there as well, and like each of the routes is
So-
going to have a good ending and a bad ending. That's been stated already.
So it's very MCU.
Yeah. So basically, like you get like Carl's good ending versus Carl's bad ending.
Yeah.
Both theoretically could have led into Echo, but here's the problem: is Duke is found dead in both those endings. So you can already see how that's an issue for it leading into
yeah.
Arches, because how is Duke dead and alive?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But the thing is, I will point out that Duke being alive in this game kind of cuts out most of the routes.
Oh, poor Duke.
Oh wow.
Not that he's a likable character, but still.
Wow.
I'm gonna say Duke kind of has it coming quite often.
Yeah.
Is all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Considering how he's acted here in Arches, extrapolate that and now imagine him during what's going on in
Oh
Echo.
yeah, he'd be an asshole.
I think he's honestly, compared to the first time he acted in Echo as when he was first introduced, anyways, I think he's a much worse person in Arches so far than he was in Echo in terms of impressions.
Yes, because in Echo, this is also him before the hysteria went down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least from the bit that I've seen him in the other routes, I would agree with that.
Yeah, because you guys are only seeing him pre-hysteria, because that's what happens when everyone like snaps, as they're mentioning here. It's called the hysteria event, and when you're actually in the hysteria, all the characters are different by that point. Everyone is.
Yeah, well, and we're led to see like Jenna kind of becomes kind of a jerk. And you're like, what's going on? Why is
In
Jenna kind
Carl's
of a jerk?
route.
Yeah.
Jenna is different in a lot of the different routes, depending on whose route you're on.
Because I remember in Carl's route, we're like, that's not like her to be an absolute asshole to Carl, right? Like, we're like, oh, okay, she was possessed by her ancestor. Cool.
Who really, really disliked Carl's family.
Correct.
Yeah.
So she was getting that.
But yeah, so yeah, that's why I'm pointing this out. Is like, well, I have a theory that it's one particular person. The thing is, my theory also is kind of being disproven somewhat by something else, but I know something else that happens in there that kind of proves that theory a little bit more. So I'm on the fence about which one it is. Either way,
We might find out.
we won't find out in this build. I'll let you know. We might find out in build 5. Build 5 will probably come out early next year.
Yay.
Yee.
Hey, Dev wants to tell Cameron to wait on the road, but at the same time, he's worried about losing him again right after finding him.
I don't want to wait on the road. The rocks are calling me a bitch.
They kind of are.
I'm kind of hearing things that I don't want to hear right now.
The rocks are calling me a stupid sack of shit, Dev.
Right. Oh, he does hear the supernatural, but this isn't the time.
The rocks are indeed calling your boyfriend a sack of shit, and you had to believe it.
Still, one thing that I think already definitely changes in this game over time as well. This is my theory, anyways, is that there's a line in this where he said when he saw movement in the trees, he smiled at whatever was moving there.
The way I read that was he was more smiling about Cameron and Devin like getting back together again,
Yeah, that's how
and
it was
that
originally
he was trying to walk away to give them a little bit of privacy. Because I actually also know what Artie is doing right now, and he's not doing anything sinister. Artie, really, in my opinion, is genuinely just some normal ass dude who got brought out here by them calling him.
He got the shit beaten out of his car.
Wait, whose car got beat shit out? Was
That was Artie's.
Yeah, because remember, Duke basically went, alright, well, you didn't leave soon enough, so I'm going to take this piece of your car and this piece of your car, and you can go fuck yourself. I have a gun.
I'm taking it.
He does
Fuck
let them
you.
leave.
Well, he told them, you had 24 hours to get the fuck out. You chose not to, so you could stay here.